Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Snorri Valleys Council meeting, Thursday, the 18th of September. I'll start with the acknowledgement of country. Snorri Valleys Council proudly acknowledges the traditional owners and custodians of this land and water and pay respect to their elders past and present. This meeting is being live streamed on Council's website to allow the community to follow Council debates and decisions. Member of the public participating in a meeting agree to have their image, voice and personal information, including name and address, recorded and publicly broadcast. Snorri Valleys Council does not accept liability for any defamatory remarks or inappropriate comments that are made during the course of the meeting. Any part of the meeting that is held in closed session will not be streamed. Councillors are reminded of the oath or affirmation of office they made under Section 233A of the Local Government Act 1993 and the obligation of Council's Code of Conduct to disclose and appropriately manage conflicts of interest. Please ensure that mobile phones and other electronic devices are turned off or in silent mode for the duration of the meeting, and no recording of voice or images is permitted by mobile phones or other electronic devices while in the room. In the event of an emergency, please evacuate the building using the nearest exit and follow the instructions given by the ward. Do not use the lift. Now, today we have apologies. An apology from Councillor Inglis because of ill health. We have a mover. Councillor Thompson, Councillor Packard, all those in favour? Unanimous. We have no one by remote attendance. Any declarations of pecuniary interest? No. Confirmations of the minutes for the meeting held on the 21st of August 2025. Do I have a mover? Councillor Packard, seconded by Councillor Sheldon. All those in favour? Councillor Hayes, you're right? Yep. Oh, there was a finger. Yep. All unanimous. Ready to go. We have no correspondence or petitions. We do have two mayoral minutes. The first mayoral minute is put forward because I feel that in our community now we've got HumeLink East and West work in our community to put up transmission lines, and that project now is to go for 2 years, and that will be finished in 2 years' time. What this motion is about having an ongoing legacy. So you're moving, yep, moving that, and
No.
I move it, don't I? Yeah,
Yeah. But we need to vote on it.
but you need to vote on it. Okay. Yeah. So my motion here, which has been discussed with all the councils, Lachlan, Yass, Wagga, Cootamundra, Gundagai, so 5 councils, to ask for an ongoing legacy of $10,000 per kilometre indexed for the life of the transmission lines per year, so that when the power lines, when HumeLink West and East is finished, the power lines are going to make a huge impact on the amenity of our area. They're not paying any rent to council. They're making a huge impact on our council. I think there should be an ongoing legacy payment. So why people have been very generous saying this is a good idea, this should happen, it keeps coming back to the Australian Energy Regulator. So this is a request to ask the CEO and the chair to meet with all 5 mayors to discuss this proposal. So I've moved it. Yes, would you like to make a comment? Councillor
Yes, I would like to know, for the scar that they're putting on our landscape, how much money are we looking at over the period of time?
So I know for Snorri Valleys Council, in a year, it would be a bit over $1 million a year, but then indexed on that.
For a
And
period of,
we of all 5 councils, we had them on.
and for a period of,
I think for the
Life of the project.
for the lifetime of the project. Why the transmission lines are up.
Foreseeable future.
Okay. All those in favour?
I'd like to speak.
Sorry, Councillor Hayes.
I'd just like to say that, the last few days there's been talking about projects and that sort of thing. I'd just like to note that, in my opinion, Transgrid catastrophically failed in their working with the community and their community consultation. Adelong didn't have any meetings, and yet it affects us very badly. I spoke at the council meeting 2 meetings ago and made my point there, but I'd just like to reinforce it. I think Transgrid has catastrophically failed to communicate and to liaise with the community.
Any other comments? Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. And the second mayoral minute, I was very pleased to read Dr. Joe's Rural Health Action Plan. And I think at the moment it's very pertinent to us because we've put out an expression of interest for a GP for Tumbarumba, and we did not get we didn't even get a question about it at all. It was just radio silence. So it just showed to me how Dr. McGurr's passion to make sure wherever you live in New South Wales, you get good medical support. This is pretty vital, particularly for us, and particularly our smaller areas such as Cancoban, that are isolated away from doctors. Would you like to speak on that, Councillor? Yep.
Yeah, well, look, I congratulate Joe McGurr on the initiative. The thing that worries me is that the health system seems to be on this roundabout where it's basically a disease management system. So, there's nothing proactive about health within New South Wales Health. I mean, they put out all this nonsense on social media, but beyond that, it's really disingenuous what goes on. I mean, they should be concentrating on trying to make people healthy, through, ensuring that our food is sustainable and it's not full of pesticides and not full of chemicals and dyes, and you're not getting 94 vaccines before you're 12 months old. There seems to be a complete imbalance of what's going on here. And I noticed the word mandate appears in there as well. Mandate genuine consultation and embed communities in governance, including First Nations communities. I mean, that just sounds more like a big stick to me again. And this is a real worry, given what we've been through in COVID. I mean, everyone thought I was a complete nut job. But here we are. I mean, I've been proved right. I mean, there's all these issues that are now coming to the fore in relation to these mRNA vaccines, and now they want to put them in cows. So, I mean, yes, I agree. We need to make sure we've got enough paramedics. We need to make sure we've got enough services and GPs and all those sorts of things. But the preventative side of this needs to be looked at as well to ensure that people have access to ensure that they're not going to end up in hospital by doing the right things and getting the right advice.
Just to clarify, I realise mandate probably triggers you, but yeah, I think in this context, I think he's saying that he does want to come out to the community and he does want to talk with people, so that situation doesn't occur again. Councillors, any other discussion?
Look, I'd like to compliment Dr. Joe on this, and also to reinforce the fact that if you do have a GP in your area, it's best to hang on to them rather than chase them away.
Very valid point. Councillor Shelton?
Because I would like to comment on it also, what Councillor Lava was talking about. It's nothing new, and this is the real problem. My mother, who was head of the AMA for New South Wales and for Riverina, faced this problem in the 80s and 90s. Nothing has changed. One thing she did speak about was health for people before, not after. And then the other thing is there have been some local governments around New South Wales that have looked at other ways at getting doctors in. And maybe we should start looking at some of the ones that have been successful in attracting local GPs and getting ideas from them. There's nothing the matter with pinching someone else's good idea if it's been successful. And there has been a number of regional or local governments in regional New South Wales that have tinkered around and changed the way they've looked at attracting doctors. And once the doctors have got there, they've bought the families and they're having a ball. They're settling in and they're joining the communities. They're not just up and leaving. So that means once they're shown what's in regional New South Wales and shown the better side of life, that, you know, earning the big bucks is not everything, but lifestyle, they can have a good lifestyle business.
Would you
And
like to
quality.
make an amendment?
No, I'm just making that point. I just think we've got to really look at it in a wider sense.
I agree very much. And the fact that we're not getting any bite at all on our expressions of interest means there's something we're not doing to attract. And I think we've got to maybe think outside the square, that maybe because Tumba does have some GPs, maybe it's time we're looking at nurse practitioners, maybe we're looking at allied health, because we have a facility there and we need it to be working for the community. All those in favour? Unanimous. No notion of rescission, no urgent business without notice, I know of. 10.1, Council's Resolution Action Report. Moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Sheldon. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a few queries in relation to some of the reports on page 28, item 11.5. Just to note that people may be a little confused as to why it's on hold, and I think just understanding that there's been change of circumstances for the owner of the property is probably reasonable to
Yes.
note.
Yeah.
The other points that I'd just like to raise on page 30 in relation to 11.1, the multi-purpose evacuation centre, the expression of interest for the management agreement. Just asking where council is at with that at this point.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Thompson. So my understanding is that it's currently being prepared at the moment.
Thank you. And then down to 8.2, the notice of motion in relation to the protection of the elms. I'd just like to provide probably a little bit of an update. Is members of the Tumut Turf Club and also the Racecourse Trust had a meeting with the Director of Infrastructure, Mr. Mitchell, and myself down there yesterday, and they are actually looking to put bollards along the edge of the road for the safety of particularly those who are on the footpath. And I had a story last night from a young mum pushing a pram who was nearly taken out by a sideways car. When she reported it to the police, she was asked, did you get the number plate? She said no. And they said, well, there's nothing we can do. So it is a very genuine ongoing issue. The point that was raised yesterday is that the Trust and the Racecourse and the Turf Committee are looking at these, but if there's any way that council can find some funding to support the implementation of these bollards, the Turf Club has actually identified that they would be prepared to maintain the area, which would take away that financial constraint on council. So I'm just giving a notice that there could be a notice of motion forthcoming. If we can look at some remuneration that we can make towards these bollards, it would be really appreciated.
Councillor Sheldon.
Look, the only thing I will actually say, go along with what Councillor Thompson did about the EOI. As far back as the previous general manager, who promised an expression of interest, and it is recorded live from a council meeting, that we would have an EOI before or shortly after Christmas break.
Or what?
That we would have. I'm just mentioning that he stated
For the
that
management.
for the
Or
management of the multi-purpose centre.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, James, I didn't quite get where you were coming from.
Councillor Hayes.
Yeah. Look, I'd just like to report that we had a success 8.1 We had a successful meeting the other day with New South Wales Police, fisheries and resource regulations to look at destructive fossicking practices in the Adelong Creek. And I believe there'll be something in the paper and maybe on the television as well. And just to reinforce that we're very happy for people to fossick and pan in the creek as long as they follow the rules.
And don't use large machinery.
Don't use large machineries or pumps or
There was,
block the creek off or do those sorts of things.
it was
Good meeting. and,
well done.
Moving forward.
I'd just like to bring up 11.3 because I know there's quite a bit of anxiety about the Manus Dam. I presume to the Director of Infrastructure that report is coming to the next month's meeting, correct?
For you, Madam Mayor, no, what we're doing at the moment is we've got a consultant brief. We're going to go out and get an RFQ, a request for quotation for the brief. The brief has been prepared for the consultants to prepare a feasibility report on how it could be returned to wetland as per the resolution of council. But won't be coming to the next council meeting,
Okay,
that report.
but it's going out like it's in action.
It's in action. Yeah, it's being prepared at the moment. I've seen that. So, yeah.
Right. And 7.1, just to thank you to Justin Clancy, if anyone saw how he stood up for Snowy Valleys Council and the police station at Tumbarumba in Parliament the other night. It was very good. And we will still push to get that on the list. We're not asking for the Tumbarumba police station to be done immediately, but I think it should be on the list to be done in the future. Okay, all those in favour? Noting the report, unanimous. 10.2, de-amalgamation update. There are 3 recommendations there, but we're going
Madam
to,
Mayor, I'll move it with a few changes.
sure,
Point 1 is the same, note the amalgamation update as of September 25. Point 2 is now proceed to holding a de-amalgamation referendum subject to the written approval from the Minister for Local Government, which is a requirement. And point 3 is allocate in the next quarterly budget review $180,000 to fund the referendum, and the inclusion of point 4, which is before holding the referendum, place the business case, de-amalgamation implementation plan and the financial sustainability plans on public exhibition for 28 days and allow 42 days for submissions.
thank you.
So I'd like to move those recommendations.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Councillor Packard, thank you. Councillor Thompson.
Look, Madam Mayor, thank you. I think the staff have put a lot of effort into actually doing the background on this, and you know, the sooner we can get to this referendum and have our community fully informed as to all of the for and against that they can actually see and they can make the decisions for themselves. And I think that part of that will actually be the production of a double-sided A4, which gives the outline of the process and then the information on the back, with other areas that people can get more information if they want to read 1,000 pages of background. This is so important, but the most important thing, as you've pointed out, Madam Mayor, too, is that people need to vote.
Yeah.
They cannot rely on other people to make the decision for them. This is, everybody needs to make sure that they vote the way that they want to go for the future, and to be able to do that without judgment from others. And so that's what I'd encourage people to do.
Councillor Packard.
Just for those members of the public who might be watching online, just to clarify that the 2 additional points that we've added into the recommendation that was in the business paper are not things to try and delay the process in any way, but because that's just that has to be done. We haven't yet received the written approval, so we can't actually start sort of action running really until we've received that. And also that the Electoral Commission or the Act says that we do have to place the plans on exhibition and for that period of time, and allow that period of time for people to make submissions back. So it's certainly not trying to delay it. It's just making sure that we meet and tick all the correct boxes.
And that those timeframes run concurrently.
Councillor Sheldon.
Look, yeah, although I don't agree necessarily with the demerger, there's one thing that I think a lot of the public has got to realise, that this new council has ticked the box of a lot of the disruptors that previous councils haven't been able to finalise. So no matter which way it goes, at least it'll be another box ticked and we'll be able to get on with business. My question though is, have we taken to the finance director, have we taken into account the financial stress that the two new projects might place on a successful demerged Tumut Shire Council,
So the two new projects, do you want to clarify? what they
MPC and the
mean?
Hang,
Okay.
Hang on the airport.
or the air. The Hanger really, because it's where it happened was with this group of council was sitting.
Through you, Madam
Ruth.
Mayor, to councillor Sheldon. So the impacts of the two new projects have been in council's long-term financial plan. So those numbers are essentially in the financial sustainability plans. But at the end of the day, they're both Tumut-based.
Yeah.
And the ongoing maintenance and things like that is minimal. But yeah, like the depreciation has been accounted for in the long-term financial.
Minimal is very broad.
And this is why, I think it's a great motion to, it was the Office of Local Government who said, put the business case and de-amalgamation implementation plan and the financial sustainability plan out on public exhibition, because that information is all in there. It's heavy reading. I will go through that. And also, I would also encourage people for lighter reading, but an interesting case is the Boundaries Commission report. Any other? Okay, do you want to close debate?
No, I think it's all been said. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, all those in favour of those four motions? Everyone bar councillor Sheldon. 10.3, exclusion of notice of motion for business paper on the 21st of August 2025. This is more or less a government type motion.
Move
correct?
the motion.
Moved by councillor Packard, seconded by councillor Sheldon.
Question,
Yes.
have we seen the motion?
I'm going to refer to the acting general manager
Right.
because we've also been asked whether it can be deferred. So if those questions could be answered.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to councillor Hayes. So as per council's code of meeting practice, if a motion is excluded because it's unlawful, council is required to report to the next meeting of council, but it cannot mention any detail.
So we're going to vote on something that we've been told is illegal, but we don't know what it is.
As per code of meeting.
That sounds very yes, Minister.
And it can't be,
New South Wales government.
and
No, it can't be deferred.
it
has to
cannot be deferred.
Can't be deferred and we can't know what it is, but we've got to say no.
Yes, Minister.
You
This is
just
what
need to-
council does best, isn't it? Say
No,
no.
so just to,
Utopia.
yeah, so just to confirm that council doesn't say no, it's just to note the report.
Okay. Any other discussion? Do you want to close debate on that one,
Well,
councillor?
It's incredibly difficult. We don't get to pick and choose the things that we do want to follow and the things that we don't follow within either our code of meeting practice or any of the other of the codes or the acts that we follow. And this is where, as councillors, we need to have enough faith in our executive that they're making the correct decisions. And so by reporting on the fact that there was a notice of motion submitted that in the opinion was, if put into the paper or carried, would have been unlawful. It's been reported as is required. I don't think we need to cast aspersions on our staff.
But none.
I don't think that was the
No.
intent.
Oh,
I don't
but we
think that
don't
was
have to
intended.
agree. with it, do
No,
we?
Well, it was a process, I think.
no, I agree entirely.
It is a
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah.
I'm naturally inquisitive.
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
is the reason why this is so vague is because it was in confidential?
No,
No, it's just if you read just under the report, so the general manager must not include in the agenda for a meeting of the council any business of which due notice has been given. If in the opinion of the general manager, the business or the implementation will be unlawful, so the general manager must report without giving details of the item of business, any such exclusion to the next meeting, council. So that's essentially what the report's doing.
Just, as we approach the 26th minute of the meeting, the problem is
We're
it
up to
asks,
10.3.
it asks more questions than it answers. That's
That, and it does that, yeah, agree. Councillor
Put the
Packard, do you
motion.
want to,
No, I'm happy to
Yep.
close.
yeah, all those in favour? Unanimous.
what else can we do?
Yeah, that's
That's right.
There's no other.
10.4,
Like last
draft
month.
audit risk and improvement committee strategic work plan,
Yeah.
25-29, moved by councillor Packard, seconded by councillor Sheldon. Councillor Packard.
Just that the AREC, it's an amazingly comprehensive body, and I think coming out of this, it would be a good idea to maybe add an additional point that we request that the chair of the AREC to attend council once a year prior to the final external.
Or at the time of,
Yeah, that's it, right.
Yeah.
So if we could add that
Yeah.
to
and
it,
I must compliment our chair, Kylie McRae, isn't it?
yes.
She does an excellent job.
Because the scope and the depth with which they look at the issues put in front of them is really astounding.
Request the AREC chair, Kylie McRae, attend a future workshop or information session to discuss
Mhm.
the finance,
Or the role, just the scope and
the
role of
scope.
the AREC committee.
Okay. Councillor Sheldon?
I think if anyone's read the work plan or the program put forward by Eric in the papers, it's got a lot more teeth than it first appears, that it really does ask some very probing questions, and it just doesn't tick a box.
Not at all.
Which should give some faith to the community. Okay. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 10.5, Christmas closure. There's one recommendation there. Do I have a mover? Councillor Sheldon, Councillor Thompson? Councillor Sheldon, do you want to speak to it?
No, don't need to.
Councillor Thompson?
Madam Mayor, there's just a couple of points that I'd like to clarify, because the heading can be a little bit confusing in relation to the fact that it just refers to the Christmas closure for 25-26. And just to draw people's attention to the fact that really the recommendation relates more to the delegations of the AGM and yourself during the period from the last council meeting to the next council meeting. And further on in the report, it actually does identify that the council actually from the period of 12 noon on Friday, the 19th of December until Monday, the 5th of January is the actual Christmas closure date for council itself. So just so that people aren't confused thinking that council is closing from the 11th of December to 19th.
And if need be, we can always call an extraordinary.
That's
meeting.
right. There's always the opportunity for an extraordinary meeting. Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's-
Okay, all those in favour? Unanimous. Those. Which leads us to 10.6, Statement of Investments. Councillor Sheldon, seconded by Councillor Packard. Councillor Sheldon.
Yes, one question I have, the figures are looking good, but one question I have is for the finance director, is our unrestricted cash reserves. Take away the FA grants. How much money is left in the bank, so to speak?
Through you, Madam Mayor. So if we have the balance, the unrestricted cash balance at the 30th of June is estimated to be approx 4.5 mil. And if we would take away that FA grants advance payment, $4.4 million, then it's going to leave us with probably $100,000 in the bank, unrestricted.
Thank you.
But that's as of 30th of June.
And I think that's something that all the councils are fighting for, is that is security with those grants and when they're going to come, because at the moment, there is that possibility that they'll move into the 1st of July, which would put us in a very tricky position.
Oh, just, to me, it just reiterates that most councils, as councillor Packard said earlier on, is not as financially fluid, especially regional council. But we have to be very careful of where our dollars are spent.
Could I ask while you're there, the Riverina Regional Library contribution, we've got, at the end of 2026, the mobile library going down to Cancoban is ceasing for financial need. And we will hopefully come up with some solution to still deliver books down there to people who need it. What sort of savings are we looking at?
I can answer that. Through you, Madam Mayor. The savings from memory in 23-24 was around 40,000.
40,000. How many books are borrowed?
They are outstanding with their statistics, so we will get those to you.
Okay.
They really
I had a question, if I may. The caravan park accommodation, UGL Engineering, is that for how long? Is that for a quarter or is that for?
That's a quarter.
That's a quarter.
Do you want to close debate, councillor
Yes,
Sheldon?
I'm happy to close debate. I thought that councillor Wirtz had a question.
It's fine. It's all good.
You've answered. All those in favour? Unanimous. Okay, 11.1, request for reserves transfer for Puggles Mobile Children's Services.
Moved.
Moved by councillor Hayes, seconded by councillor Hardwick. Councillor Hayes.
Makes perfect sense.
Madam Mayor, can I- clarification, please. Just, it refers to the request, that the request has been made. Can I just ask who has made the request and just a bit of a background for the general community as to the way that Puggles works and how many communities it actually visits and operates and the level of support across? Because I think a lot of people would look and go, Puggles, what's Puggles? And I important it is.
So I can do the first part.
Okay.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Thompson. So the request has come from staff essentially because it's in a internal reserve. It has to come to council for approval. So we have to request that council approves that money to come out of that reserve into the educational cost centre. In terms of the second question, I'm happy to answer it briefly.
Yeah, you go on.
Yeah. So what Puggles is a mobile childcare service. It goes to, so it's in a van essentially with all the equipment. It goes to about 7 sites. The majority of those are in council's area, but we also go outside the area to those isolated community to provide that service. Essentially. So all the equipment's in the van and we provide that service in the community, which is on a roster basis. So,
And this actually generates some income.
yes, it does.
Thank you.
It's actually a long daycare centre, so you can have, normally from about 4 months to school age. But I think bringing it up, we do have to acknowledge that the director of the service, Kylie Wildsmith, has been there now since 2019. So, no, sorry,
No.
1999.
Yes.
Yeah,
It was
1999.
longer than that.
Yeah, 1999, which is pretty sensational and
Yeah.
gives a lot of stability to the service.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. Thank you.
Okay, would you like to close debate?
Oh, no, I think it's a great service. Puggles Van Grant. It's not to be confused with the Dutch Puggles Van Gant, I suppose. But yeah, it's very good.
Okay, all those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 11 point,
Oh, hang on.
no, he's getting in early for the next one.
Yeah.
I know what that's happening.
You know how it works.
11.2, proposed fire control centre amended heads of agreement. Councillor Latta, do you want to?
Yeah, I want
Oh,
to
you want to
change
amend
the
it
motion.
first?
Yeah.
Yep.
That council,
Have we got a move?
No, he wants to move it with an
Second.
amendment.
Okay.
Is that correct, councillor Larda?
well,
No, 'cause he's
it's
moved
not really an
something.
amendment because it's a different motion, but I'm moving a new motion.
Okay, so we have to move the first motion, have it?
No,
No, it's a brand new motion.
Yeah.
Okay, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We know what we're doing.
That council defers the signing of amended heads of agreement and engages with the RFS about potential other sites that don't result in non-aviation activity land use at Tumut Aerodrome.
Okay, so I've got a mover for that motion. Do I have a seconder?
I have a question.
I think I'd like to
I'll
have a
second
seconder, but, yeah, councillor Hayes. Councillor, do you want to speak to it first?
Well, look, I'll just say that this isn't ruling anything out. This is just about due diligence. And so my concern is that, yes, we have to come up with some land for the RFS, and there are potential other sites being in the emergency services precinct down where the SES and the RFS currently are. And I'll make the argument that during a fire, the National Parks and Wildlife Service are quite often the lead agency for fires. And therefore, by putting this Centre of Excellence for firefighting for the RFS in close proximity to them would make sense. You would also have the ability to have a fire training centre, which wouldn't be allowed at the airport, potentially. And the airport is restricted sometimes because of flooding. Now, the SES don't have a magnificent facility when they're the combat agency of a flood, and quite often they use the other agencies' rooms. And obviously, this centre would be, a world benchmark in providing those services, which the SES could use if it's in the same site. So you've got that difficulty of flooding at the airport. But my main concern is that we've just spent $12 million and change upgrading this airport. And one of the benefits of that should be economic development. And the problem with locking up finite aerodrome resources to non-aviation activities is something that can't be reversed. And this is something that's happened at Bankstown and other places where you've got logistic warehouses of, Temu products and whatever being dispersed, from these aviation facilities when flying schools can't build anything because there's no room, or engineering facilities can't build a hangar because there's no room. And so, we don't want to end up in that situation at our airport where we could have a potential opportunity in an economic sense, and we can't provide it because somebody is there doing stuff that's not related to aviation. This stuff can be done, in town. It would be better served in town. There's every reason to put it in that emergency services precinct, for instance. And so to essentially give away that land, which is a valuable asset to council and a potential income to council, a massive potential income to council, makes no sense to me.
Thank you, councillor Larda. Councillor Packer?
Just inquiring, if it were built, would we earn any ongoing income from it at all? And if we did, would that be to offset the fact that we make a loss at the airport at present?
Through you, Madam Mayor. No, not in its current configuration. It's a fire control centre that's 100% dedicated to the RFS.
So they pay us no rent?
No rent.
No rent.
No, that's part of the legislation at the moment, is that we have to provide the facility and we can't charge for it. And we've been through and got legal advice on that. The only opportunity, I guess, would be the hangar facility that's located on that land, which is subject of a report coming further along the agenda, which possibly could be used by council to generate some income, because as we all understand, that hangar is a council asset and would only, under an agreement yet to be formed, be made available for the RFS in the event of emergency. So that's really the only opportunity on that current 3.5 hectare section of land we've given to the RFS that could potentially generate income.
Councillor Sheldon?
First of all, I just want to get this right. This resolution has been hanging around since March 2012, this motion since March 2024. And my second, well, that's what you said, rescind a motion of resolution. So you've been working on this since March 2024.
Through you, Madam Mayor, that's correct. So the request to enter into a heads of agreement for this land came to council previously on the 21st of March, where council did resolve unanimously to go into a heads of agreement. As is clear in this report, the heads of agreement has changed. So therefore, we've had to bring a new heads of agreement to this council meeting. So it has been going on for a while. I might also point out that the master plan for the aerodrome that was drawn up and then adopted by council did identify this land back then as RFS facility land. So it has been around for quite some time.
I might just to get something from Councillor Larter about your proposed resolution. Should that not fit in with the commissioner of RFS? Wouldn't he be the best person to approach and discuss this with? If we were going to put another resolution up, that's.
Happy for you to include.
It's a question, that's all.
And you do wonder whether the people who are here on the grounds might be good to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're the ones who are going to be working on using it. Councillor Thompson?
Madam Mayor, just the emergency precinct, which is also an area that we had initially looked at for the multi-evacuation centre. The reason that it wasn't acceptable was council doesn't own the land, and it was going to take so long to actually get that because that's railway land. And then the other side is privately owned by people within the community. So I'm not quite sure where it fits down there. The other thing I find at the 11th hour a little bit difficult to comprehend is the fact that the whole thing has been always conceived as a package between the upgrade of the aerodrome and the inclusion of a fire control centre, so that it was all being managed and done in the one area. And I know that Forest Corporation have removed themselves from it, but the RFS have continued to believe that that's the best site for their fire control centre. And we've raised concerns all the way along about things in relation to the flooding at the area, and that was always dismissed. So I find it just a little bit difficult to understand why, when we're looking at doing a final signatory on a heads of agreement, that we've suddenly changed from having it in the location where it can best be suited to firefighting to suddenly not thinking it is the right site.
Councillor Larter, has anything changed?
Well, certainly it's changed because the forestry are no longer part of the heads of agreement. And so they were going to be one of the major tenants in that fire control centre at the airport. So that's a major wholesale change of its use. And I'd also, say that, look, essentially there is, if you build that hangar out there, which, at this stage is likely to go ahead then they don't need to be on site. I mean, they've got a big facility there if they need it. They've already got an existing airbase. They don't need to be putting 90 car spaces out there, which could be occupying aeroplanes. I mean, this is the major problem that.
But I think what Councillor Thompson was bringing up is, so where?
Well, I'd put it to the council that rather than just make a bad decision now because it's at the 11th hour. I mean, the forestry have pulled out. Why? We need to know why. There is the land use opportunity down in the railway precinct. I'm also advised by Mr. Wilton that it's possible that other land may be coming available in those regions. There's numerous other spots. The forestry have got they previously wanted to build this entire facility in Sydney Street, which we said no to. But there's the council land in the bottom of Cap Street. There's so many other places that could be an option. So I just don't think we should be rushing into anything here and signing something that locks us in. This hasn't been to the airport committee since this change has occurred, and I don't think the airport committee were consulted. So all I'm saying is let's just take a deep breath. I mean, the RFS resigned from the aerodrome committee. The local RFS resigned from the aerodrome committee. Now, I mean, to me, that beggars belief. I mean, here they are wanting to take our prime land at the airport, and they've said, stuff you. We don't want to be part of your aerodrome committee going forward. I mean, so why are we locking ourselves out of valuable land?
So, Councillor Wood?
Yeah, I think, in my view, I think this aerodrome upgrade that's been going on with the runway, now the hangar that's going in, the bulk water supply from the river, and potentially now the RFS headquarters or fire control centre that they're building. It all ties in together. That's what Councillor Thompson was talking about. If you separate the parts of try and put the RFS fire control centre somewhere else, you're going to have logistical issues, especially during a bushfire. You talk to the RFS about the logistics issues that they had during the 2020 bushfires here at the car park at the back of the council building. There was a lot of problems in terms of car spaces. And I think you'll find that if you have another emergency event, you'll have the same problems if you don't have a proper area, which is probably a good thing that the forestry isn't going to be out there, because it would mean that in advance of an emergency, you're going to have a lot of space that you can utilize. I don't think it's a good idea to pull out now at the 11th hour and jeopardize the plan that's in place. Mainly because if you do, it's going to cause issues down the track, especially if this doesn't get built for whatever reason, and we haven't got a fire control centre, and we get another bushfire that comes through. There's going to be questions raised about the due diligence that this council did in terms of approving this facility. I think we need to go ahead with it. Otherwise, if we don't, it could be, in the event of another bushfire, it could be devastating. So
Thank you, Councillor.
I'll leave it at that.
Against 4.
Oh, look, it's just deferring it. They haven't got the money. They haven't got the money for this, have they? They're not going to build it in the next 3 years?
No.
No. So we're basically saying, oh, let's just tie some land up. But if we just defer it, it can be approved at any time. But in the meantime, we'll find somewhere better.
We might.
We might not. I don't know.
Can I ask advice from the Director of Infrastructure Works?
Through you, Madam Mayor, look, the decision, as I said, goes back to when council adopted the master plan for the aerodrome. And at that time, which I believe was 21-22, this area was identified for the RFS Fire Control Centre. I can't speak for the reason why, when the master plan was being prepared, the site was chosen there for this fire control centre, and I'm not aware, because it predates me, any decisions or discussions about alternative sites, which I've now heard about. So I can't really comment on what I call an options analysis on site selection that was undertaken for the Fire Control Centre here in Tumut. But I do know that the combined facilities that they're proposing through the Softwoods Working Group grants for a dedicated pipeline for the hangar facility, the fire slasher, and this facility and the hangar do give better firefighting capability for the area in one location, and the aerodrome is an important part of the firefighting infrastructure and assets that are utilised in the area. But I'm not an expert in firefighting infrastructure and assets.
Madam Mayor, can I seek clarification, please? Through you to the Director of Infrastructure. The two questions that I have is, have the RFS indicated that they no longer want to be out at the aerodrome?
No, they have very much indicated that this Fire Control Centre and the heads of agreement indicates to me that they are serious of being out of the aerodrome.
My second question and query, and I'm aware that it's embedded within the documents that we have here, but the heads of agreement clearly identify that should the proposal not go ahead, it costs council nothing because we are not held responsible for any building that they've commenced that they don't get to complete. We have a finite date for the completion of the project. So there are checks and balances within this heads of agreement that protect council from financial liability.
Through you, Mary, that's correct, Councillor Thompson, and that was some significant changes to the heads of agreement that came to council in March of 24. To this heads of agreement, where we've put in clauses that say, A, if funding is withdrawn at any point in time, council has its right to resume the land. B, if part of the funding or part of the project is constructed on the land, then those facilities and infrastructure will remain the property of RFS, and council has no burden, no financial burden on those facilities. And C, if it isn't completed within the time frame that's indicated in the heads of agreement, which is 2029, 2030, council also reserves its right to resume the land. So that you're right, there are checks and balances now in the agreement that protects us from locking this up forever if it doesn't proceed.
Thank you.
And just, I'm sure the master plan did go to the aerodrome committee.
It did.
Can you remember that?
We had public.
I wasn't here, I'm
When
afraid,
they did.
Julia.
Councillor Sheldon, you've already spoken, unless it's a question and
Clarification.
clarification. Okay.
So if this is, the clarification is if the lease is signed, that land is locked up until 2029 without any development may occur.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Councillor Lardo, do you close debate?
Well, look, can I just say, look, there is no reason not to defer this. I mean, we can act on it at any point in time. All I'm saying is that the activities that they're proposing out there are not reliant on being at an airport. Some of them are, but not the Fire Control Centre. It can be anywhere. And realistically, I can tell you from experience, with 25 years of emergency management experience, that when you have a fire, last thing you want is 150 fire trucks turning up from all over the state, all over Victoria and wherever else, trying to find their way out to the airport and parking out there so they can attend a briefing and get their lunchbox.
Yeah.
It beggars belief that we are going to now lock this land up for a non-aviation use. And that's what it is. It's a non-aviation use. And all I'm saying is, let's go to the Commissioner. Let's see if we can identify somewhere else that is amenable to them, that still allows them to do their business as they want to, but allows us to then develop the airport in accordance with our responsibility to the ratepayers, and that's to get an income and to build on the excellent grants that we've received out there. And that's just good governance. Why we would want to not do that is beyond me. Who cares if we, really made a decision? I was part of that group that got to that point. And I will freely admit here that I made a mistake. That land should never be used for garages or car parks for fire trucks.
Thank you,
It's
councillor.
got to be
That's
used for
brilliant.
aviation.
So I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour? Okay, we've got councillor Hardwick, councillor Larter, councillor Hayes, councillor Sheldon.
Got the casting vote.
I know I have, yeah.
All those against?
No, I'm just thinking. sorry.
Oh.
The one thing that worries me about this is,
Not going to happen.
having a flood situation and having it over the other side. And if there is a possibility of what, that the land has become available, I think we should investigate it. So if we could defer it, I'm in favour of this motion. And against is Works, Haggard. and Kent. Thank you, councillors. On to 11.3, proposed helicopter hangar emergency services facilities, lot 2 DP 1075294 and lot 4 DP 526649 405 Wee Jasper Road, Bombarley. Bombarley, sorry. And one recommendation there. Do we have a mover? Councillor Hayes, seconded Councillor Thompson. Councillor Hayes?
Look, this is involved with aviation. And look, there's been a lot of conversation about this. And I differ in opinion to some people, but I think that, look, if this is an opportunity to generate income for the Snowy Valleys, that's great. If it's only used one day a year or one day in 5 years by the RFS helicopter, and it's the day we need it, that's great. But if it means that we cannot get that helicopter because we don't have the facility, that's a problem. So that's why I think it's a good thing to have, and it's an opportunity for us as well. I'm happy to move this.
Move that. Perhaps someone-
I'll speak
Councillor Larder,
against
you
it.
want to speak against it?
Against it. Look, I won't harp on about this because I've previously raised, my valid concerns about this, but look, this won't improve any aviation safety outcomes or fire outcomes in Tumut. That's the reality. I mean, these helicopters can operate irrespective of whether there's a hangar. My real concern, and it's the concern that the Commissioner Trent Curtin must address, it's the elephant in the room here, it's in relation to the competition neutrality. Now, he responded to the Mayor and said, I otherwise confirm that insofar as the RFS undertakes significant business activities, it is mindful of the principles of competitive neutrality. Well, I hope he's genuine, because the problem is in building this and sticking their mini Air Force down here is they're going to send local businesses broke. They failed to give us a guarantee or an assurance that local operators would not be affected. They failed to do that. They wrote to us and said they couldn't give us that guarantee, even though the motion we passed to approve this hangar was binding on that. It was tethered to it. It said they must provide that guarantee. They never did. They wrote back and said we're not. So what worries me here is that these buggers will basically come down here, hide their assets, and the people like True North Helicopters and Pays Helicopters and all the other operators that are out there, they'll end up being overlooked, because the RFS, even though they've got these NAFC contracts, the RFS is the tasking authority. I mean, it's like putting the fox in the hen house. they're responsible for basically providing themselves with the green light. Oh, there's a fire. Okay. Who have we got? Oh, we've got the RFS. They've got the helicopters at Tumut. Yes, send them. What happens to True North and Pays? They just sit there. They just sit there because the RFS will undoubtedly, they will provide benefit to their own assets before they provide them to the local operators. And that really concerns me that we are now in this situation. And I suggested that the Premier, Mr. Min, should be advised about this, and they should be looking in, or the Premier should be looking into the competition neutrality aspects of this, because government, unfortunately, in this scenario, is got an unfair advantage. I mean, they don't pay insurance, they don't pay for their they don't pay for all the other costs that the local operators have got, and not only that, when it comes to the tasking, the RFS are the people. They're the people that are tasking their own helicopters before they task the local ones. So anyway, I just hope that that they're not disadvantaged, and if they are, well, we'll come at them again, because I'm not going to stand by and watch.
That's your 5 minutes. Thank you, councillor Lado. And I do want to assure you that you have brought this up before, and the acting general manager and I have actually spoken to the commissioner about this. We've got assurances that that will not be the case. So thank you for bringing it up, but it certainly has been followed up. Okay, that's against. Anyone for? Do you want to close debate, councillor
Actually,
Hayes?
I did have, sorry, Madam Mayor, just in relation to speaking for it, the report is very intensive and there's a lot more in the
Attachments.
attachments. It's something that we need to be looking at, and I can understand where councillor Lard is coming from in relation to ensuring that, the aerodrome area is a craft precinct and things like that. But when I first got onto council back in 2021, there was so much focus on all of this and developing a safety precinct out at the aerodrome in relation, which is why the majority of work was actually done on the runways, which is why the Fire Control Centre was identified. That had been announced prior to the 2021 election, so that announcement had been. So this has all been a part of everything right up until then, and this hangar is now another part of the jigsaw for creating a safer environment. And so I think we need to be mindful that the hangar will provide that other level. I can also appreciate not wanting to impact on other users, but as you've pointed out, that you have actually met and raised those concerns. So I'd like to see it progress sooner rather than later, because it's another one of these things hanging over us that if we don't resolve it, we'll be discussing it in 12 months' time.
Councillor Hayes, are you happy to?
Yes, and while I agree with a lot of what councillor Lada said, we do have a motion on the books that says that they should not be adversely affected. You say that you've got a verbal from the
Absolutely.
from the commissioner. Let's hope that that's the case, because I would hate to see somebody adversely affected, especially a thriving business that we've got there.
Oh, and a business we all are very grateful for having in our.
Appreciate it,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, all those in favour?
Oh, no.
We thought we'd got
I'm
you.
on drugs.
Everyone bar councillor Lada. Oh, no, I'm sorry, councillor
I've made
Shaw.
my points clear at many meetings.
Okay, thank you. 12.1 minutes audit risk and improvement committee. Moved by councillor Packard, seconded by councillor Sheldon. Councillor Packard? No. All those in favour? 12.2 notes First Nation Liaison Committee. Tumut 20th of August 2025. Councillor Thompson, seconded by councillor Sheldon. Councillor Thompson.
Just very quickly, Madam Mayor, those that were present, as you can see from the notes, there was a lot of discussion held, and they're also looking at, now that it's a Northern End committee, there's a Northern End and a Southern End committee. they are going to be looking at additional members and reviewing the membership to ensure that those whose names are down there are actually ones who would attend the meetings. But you can see from the notes that it was a really healthy discussion, and there was so much enthusiasm about what can be done. So I think the right decision was made in having two separate liaison committees, and we're now looking at the date for the Southern Committee to be held. So.
And thank you, councillor Thompson. Reading the minutes, there was quite a lot of talk about the reconciliation action plan.
Yeah.
I'd really appreciate just maybe in a workshop, just or send in to councillors so we know where it's at. Should be great.
There was an amazing presentation. I can't remember the lady's name off the top of my head, sorry, from Reconciliation Australia. And her knowledge and her ability to just have an open discussion with some of the projects that we can be looking at, some of the things that we can be implementing, some of the things that can be identified to go into the reconciliation action plan that are achievable. They don't have to be, and it's not just about council doing them, it's about council supporting some of these initiatives. So it was a really, really good discussion. It's a shame that they're only notes and not recommendations.
And something else I saw in the minutes that I would like to comment on and have followed up with Janice Williams is Banksia Park. And I went and saw it, and I'm just
There's no
really
park.
embarrassed that we have a park of that standard here in Snowy Valleys Council. And from what I can gather, it's not our problem.
It's not
It's not housing's problem. It's not land council's problem. Whose problem is it? And how are we going to rectify that and do something about it? So I think within the minutes it asked to meet with Dr. Joe McGurr and do a work through. And I think council would like to be part of that.
Madam Mayor, thank you for raising it. The issue is that it is one of those parks that is not of the responsibility of council per se. And so we need to be really careful in how it's managed. And I think the advocacy towards our local member so that the person or the organisation that is responsible for it needs to step up and do it. I am also aware that they've had several attempts at doing the area up, and it is a high vandalism area, but it does need to be addressed and it needs to be dealt with. But to identify whose responsibility is probably the number one priority.
Councillor Hayes.
I'd just like to say that this is the first successful step in demerging.
How's that?
Well, the fact that-
I'm sorry, I'm still on the park. Right, yeah, I get you. Yeah. Any other comments, councillors? Would you like to close debate, councillor?
No.
All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 12.4 minutes, Tumut Aerodrome Committee.
Sorry.
12.3.
12.3, I am
Traffic.
trying,
Left out
yeah, I'm
traffic.
trying to, oh, imagine doing that to you. Okay, do I have a mover?
That's another one.
Councillor Thompson, seconded Councillor Sheldon, Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to identify that the guidelines for the traffic is now a traffic forum. It's no longer a traffic committee. And I believe that we will be receiving more information about how that actually works and what it means. But it comes down to that really it's more about approving the major events that are going on and less about setting guidelines. Maybe the director would like to go further, but it's a very different style of a forum now. It's no longer a committee.
I don't have any comment, councillor Thompson. I just hope that it does work and
Yeah.
function in a way that meets the requirements of the community in terms of managing traffic and parking, and the expectations from the community around how it's managed are maintained. I'm hoping eventually what comes out of it is possibly more control coming to council in terms of things around not having to always go to Transport for New South Wales to make changes to things like speed, signage, parking, which in traditional traffic committees have always been the remit of transport, but from and with concurrence from council. So maybe this is heading in that direction.
Councillor Packard.
Is this something which all councils have had to adopt this
Yes.
process?
This is not our committee.
Okay,
It's a,
It's a transport committee.
I see. Okay, an external.
Councillor Sheldon.
What cropped up earlier, is there anything that can be done about that suggested 80 km speed zone so far out of Battler? You're halfway to Chairman.
I think that's something, through you, Madam Mayor, councillor
It hasn't
Sheldon,
happened yet, councillor
we'll,
Sheldon.
we'll raise at the next local traffic forum.
I think at the last traffic forum, it was actually raised because the Appletheath Cidery is concerned about having 100 kilometres going past its entry. And it was actually made comment that the 80k zone was going to the Cow and Calf, which I took, maybe I incorrectly understood, which I thought was going to be a permanent change because it was mentioned about the entry. And they said, no, the 80k was going all the way back to the Cow and Calf. So, and yet I think councillors of the understanding that that's a temporary change that's been in place because of the increased work vehicles that are going up there with the transmission.
Yeah.
And yet I heard it the other way around.
So we've got a few things to try and sort out. And the other important thing is to note that while the traffic committee receives reports in relation to the special events, we don't deal with the event itself. The only issue that we look at is the traffic movements and the need for, you know, making sure that there's safe traffic and there's parking and those things. So look at the event related to traffic, not the event itself.
Councillor Hayes.
Yes, I've been approached several times by a resident whose parents live in a house in Lynch Street, which also faces the Snowy Mountains Highway. That house has been impacted by a vehicle going through it. And also there's been a few near misses, one just very recently. He's asked me on several occasions. I'm no longer, I was previously on the traffic committee, I'm no longer in the traffic committee. I've forwarded that information along. I agree that it's dangerous, but I'd just like to know whether that has been mentioned and whether anything is going to happen. It's not a council, it's a Transport for New South Wales issue, I believe, but certainly it's something that traffic committee.
Was on the agenda last night.
Clarification question?
Yes, please, probably to the Director of Infrastructure and Works. I believe when people did a project such as the distillery, that 9 times out of 10 there had to be like an extra lane put in for exit and exiting with clear traffic signs, that it wasn't just in and out straight onto the road. Because you look around the state and you go to many places that have the egress and that from the major highway, there's an extra lane put in or a divergent by 100 metres, 50 metres either way, that will actually alleviate a lot of the risks. Was that to you then?
To Nick.
Oh, I thought it was to Duncan.
Through you, Madam Mayor. So with new developments, when DAs are lodged, sometimes what they have is what they call a basic access right or a basic access left, which provides a lay-by for a vehicle to be able to pull off the main road and to be able to exit and egress a property. So similar to what was done at the Appletheath. The Appletheath at Batlow recently had some roadworks that was done in order for vehicles to turn right coming from Batlow towards the facility, which enables another car to pass on the left-hand side. So some road widening that happened out there. And the same with the approach from the Tumut side. There was some additional road widening there, so a vehicle could pull off to be able to pull into the actual facility as well. So that's how it works.
Thank you. Councillor Lana.
Could I just ask whereabouts, where we're at with freshening up lines and things, you know, especially in back streets, like for instance, I know at the.
I think it's a bit off topic, I'm afraid, but
From the traffic committee.
noted, and we'll talk about that offline. But thank you. Okay, we're happy to close debate. No?
I didn't get an answer.
No. I've written it down and I'll
through you, Madam Mayor, councillor
has.
Hayes, yeah, look, I've written it down as well. It's something we can follow up on.
Thank you.
Okay, we're happy to put the motion?
Yeah.
All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. Now on to 4.4 minutes. of
Madam Mayor,
the
can I just
Tumut
declare a,
Aerodrome Committee, a
uh,
conflict of interest?
Yeah,
Or-
just, I didn't realise there before, but I am mentioned, in the minutes there, so, I'll be declaring a pecuniary interest, but not leaving that.
That can be noted. Thank you very much. Okay, so we've got two recommendations there. Do I have a mover? Councillor Sheldon, Councillor Larder. Councillor Sheldon, do you want to speak to it?
Nope.
Okay, all those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 12.5 Youth Council Committee, the 14th of August 2025. Do I have a mover? Councillor Wirtz, seconded Councillor Hardwick. Councillor Wirtz.
Hope we can get some more youth involved
Yeah.
in the committee. So it looks like there's going to be some new members coming on board. So yeah,
Well
look
done.
forward to the next meeting.
Are there
The
other-
major problem with running any of these organisations, they grow up, so you've just got to keep.
I think there should be a motion about that.
Peter Pan.
You need Peter Pan, yeah.
Okay, all those in favour? Councillors, we will now go into confidential. All
I'll
in
move.
favour?
No, I'll move.
Moved by councillor Thompson, seconded by councillor Larder.